CRB011 Teaching Technologies assignment. We use this because Tynker is used to enhance students' knowledge with coding and computational thinking. For our unit, we decided to do 4 individual lessons, each focused on their own stage of technology. Our first lesson was mainly aimed at teaching the children about coding. In this lesson, students will be learning about the branches of coding, branching, iteration and sequencing, and also how the children will use this in their everyday life. The teacher will model on the projector how to log in and navigate Tynker, and the students will have the opportunity to complete this in the next lesson. This unit plan with each individual lesson all focus on the Australian curriculum, STEM and other curriculum areas. The first thing it links to is the Australian curriculum. In the knowledge and understanding section, the children will be recognising the role of people in design and technology occupations and explore different factors that include sustainability and the impact of design products, services and environments that meet the community needs. Whereas in process and production skills, the children will be planning a sequence of production steps when making design solutions individually and collaboratively. They will also generate, develop and communicate design ideas and decisions using appropriate technical terms and graphical representation techniques.
In the second lessons, the students will have the opportunity to explore Tynker in more detail. This will involve students having the opportunity to browse and navigate through Tynker. Within science, students have already covered the life cycle of a frog, so they will already have prior knowledge about the different stages of the life cycle of a frog. The teacher will then spend 20 minutes explaining to the students the assessment piece that they will be required to complete in the last lesson of the unit plan, Thinking with Tynker. The teacher will then briefly go over the life cycle of a frog with the children, making sure that they understand, and we'll then go through what needs to be completed in the assessment task, when it needs to be completed and what needs to be included.
In the third lesson, the students will be learning about the required steps in how to appropriately complete their assessment in the final lesson. They'll be going over the conventions of a life cycle, and the teacher will briefly explain the task sheet and the marking rubric with the students. The task sheet will outline all steps needed to be completed and will each be individually handed to the students so they can have a brief read.
In the fourth and final lesson, the students will be required to complete their assessment task by the end of the 1-hour lesson. In this time, the students will be required to create the life cycle of a frog using a Tynker program that has been designed for the classroom. At the end of the lesson, the students will need to save and submit their assessment for the teacher to mark.
Certain assessment strategy will be used by the teacher. The teacher will monitor each child's progression through Tynker, ensuring they are on task and understand each aspect of the required task. This unit plan links in with STEM and many other curriculum areas. It links into English as the children will be using their language and literacy skills. It links in with the arts as students will be Googling different visual images for their assignment. With STEM, they are doing this assignment after what they have learnt in science, as the children have just learnt about the life cycle of a frog.
The technology aspect of the assignment will be the fact that they will be using the program Tynker. It will incorporate engineering, as they will be required to do design. And lastly, it incorporates maths, as they'll be using numerals in the different stages.
Out of the 3 stages of coding, the main stage that children will be focusing on is sequencing. This is because it is a sequence of events, and the way they are creating their life cycle is going from one sequence to the next. The children will also be using coding, as it is another sequencing event. The main form again is sequencing, as the children will be using a sidebar and clicking and taking it to the main screen. It is then a sequence as it uses the same 2 buttons, where they just wait 1 second and then switch the background, which is used as a repetitive cycle.
The assessment task for the unit plan involves students having to complete a project using Tynker, which will demonstrate their understanding of the life cycle of a frog. The assessment piece will be completed in the final 1-hour lesson of the unit. The project must include text, for example, eggs, tadpole, young frog, pictures of the 4 different stages, a colourful background, as well as sound.
Thank you!
Thank you!